Hi everyone. Welcome back to A Sky Full of Stars, Science Route, Episode 5. So, in the last episode, a lot of people attended the Stargazers meetup, including Orihime, and they heard Hikari's speech about what Project Starlight is about and why it's beneficial and why Hikari wants to do it. So the fact that she wants to see all these stars that are being blinded by city lights at night. And it's like, well, I want all of us to turn off their lights for just a few hours so that we can see the Gemini meteor shower, which is pretty dim and it's hard to see with all these night lights on. And while the people who attended the Stargazers meetup are convinced and touched by Hikari's speech, the city isn't, and they object to it. And there's one source of light that they refuse to turn off, which is the Christmas tree. And they need solid proof about why they should turn this off. And it's like, well, I don't feel convinced that turning lights off will allow us to see many stars and the Gemini meteor shower. So it looks like the Six Stars Club has to gather some proof and pictures and show the city about what they could see if they do allow all lights to be turned off. And I wonder what they're going to use, because having a picture is not convincing by itself. You need some kind of timeline and such to show that, well, it's because the city grew, there's more lights at night, it's caused stars to disappear little by little, and if we do turn off the lights and make it like it was back then when the cities were small, we could see a lot more stars than we currently see. So let's see how it goes from here. And it's kind of hard for the team to find evidence and proof. So we could only find records of special places or famous stargazing spots. And just who we have left a record of Hoshinonaka's night sky. There you go. So even so, we do not lose hope. The old founding members of the Six Stars Club are in this town. So maybe they can provide some evidence and some testimony about what they saw when they were still in school. So clinging to that thread of hope, we decide to keep searching the web, but also ask our elders. Okay, so. So don't use your phone when you walk, it's dangerous. So we're on our way home from the meeting. Everyone else took the bus, but I had my bike and was walking back to Mikazuki Station with Hikari.
そうだ、ハーバータウンのプラネタリウムに博物館あるよね。あそこに何か展示とかされてないかな?
So there might be pictures. We probably could have found pictures elsewhere too. So in the very least, Nishihai has been taking pictures of the stars since a long time ago. So they have some pictures to show what it was like back then. But I knew that just pictures would not be evidence, there you go, that we could see more stars than before. Because in pictures, the number of stars changes depending on settings. And since it was better than nothing, we started gathering them. So pictures are taken from the same place with the same settings over time. That would be evidence, or some evidence. So Hikari mumbles while looking at her phone.
返事来てないや。
So Saya hadn't come to today's meeting. Well, she's probably busy with comic strips or helping her astronomy club do comics. I said that, but she hadn't replied to me either, so I'm a little concerned. So Hikari dials a number on the phone and puts it to her ear.
出ない。
And she won't pick up the phone.
もう、さやにも手伝ってほしいのに。
So Hikari complained as she hung up and put her phone in her pocket. Well, I'll tell her later. So I'm sure she will come up to the store that night.
頼むよ、彼氏。
Okay, so he's gonna ask Sayasek, do you want to come by the store?
やめとく。最近帰るの遅かったし。
Oh, so Hikari. So Hikari's like, well, I'm sorry. I've been showing up late, so I can't spend more time out here. Hikari says this while she looked into the store to make sure Saya is not there. And we see Kotaro instead. Kotaro comes out of his house with his tail wagging and snugged up to Hikari.
あんたはいいね。毎日のんびり幸せそうで。
Yep, says Kotaro. So I stopped my bicycle and was up in the middle of thinking whether to get changed right away or not. And when the doors of the store opened, and we see Miharu sensei.
あんたら、いいところに帰ってきたわ。早乙女先生、どうかしたんですか？
So Miharu-san glances around like she is looking for someone else.
さや、一緒じゃないの？
So no Saya? No, she didn't come today.
っていうか、メッセージ送っても返事もないし。そう。
So what about her? So anything happened?
さっき、あの子のお母さんが来ててね。なんか、家出しちゃったっていうのよ。
Uh-oh. So she ran away from home. Huh?
家出？書き置き残して、どっか行っちゃったんだって。あんたら、心当たりない？っていうか、あんたら本当に知らない？
So do you know where she went?
知りません。てか、何なんですか、家出って。
But anyways, why would she run? So did something happen?
あったみたい。
So Miharu-san told us the news with a troubled face. Nope, so she's not here. So not at the old train car.
ここもか。どこ行っちゃったのよ、さや。
So where could Saya be? So Hikari sighed and leaned against the abandoned train car. So after talking to Miharu-san, we started searching for Saya right away. And if anyone knew about her whereabouts, it should be Hikari and me. But not only did we not know where she had gone, but we could not even contact her. So it's a really big problem now. So we asked someone or everyone in the Six Stars Club, but nobody knows anything.
念のため白鳥さんにも聞いてみたけど、知らないって言ってたもんね。
So Shitori-san doesn't know either. So now there is nowhere else where Saya could be. Not as far as we could think, anyways. So we had thought that if Saya is hiding somewhere, this will be it, but we had been wrong.
さや、大丈夫かな？
So Hikari whispers worriedly. So the news Miharu-san has given to us about Saya had been kind of complicated.
なんかね、あの子昨日の夜一人でどっかふらついてて、夜回りの先生に見つかっちゃったらしいのよ。あの学校厳しいでしょ？それで今日 親を学校に呼び出されてお説教。その後親子喧嘩してさやは出て行っちゃったって。
So I think Saya's school had a factor in causing this. So I wonder why the school would contact the mother about Saya. It's like, what did Saya do?
ねえ、昨日さや来てたの？あんた送ってってあげなかったの？ねえ、さや昨日お店に来なかったんだよね。
No, she didn't. Well, maybe the teacher had found her as she had been on her way to the store. And it hadn't been that late. So was Seisan Girls strict enough to call in your parents for going to a convenience store at night? Well, that's pretty harsh, and it is kind of rare for the school to be concerned about their students after hours, so outside of the usual education hours. And it's like, well, teachers, if you see any Seisan Girls students lurking past a certain time or in places that are inappropriate, you have the right to contact the parents and let them know about what happened.
あの子、こないだも一人でどっか行ってたよね。どこ行ってたの？お散歩。何やってんのよ、本当に。
Hikari, her voice racked with worry, looks at her smartphone again. And there's no reply. So I'm sure she'll contact us at some point.
そうだね。
So we couldn't help anything here. We walked down the mountains. Okay, so it's already late, so just go home, Hikari.
でも。
But we didn't accomplish our task, so we came back to the station, and Hikari is wondering whether to go home or not. Well, I'll keep looking for her. So still in his doghouse, Kotaro's ears perked up, and he raised his head. So does Kotaro sense Saya somewhere? So is it time for the manager to walk him, or was it... Okay, so Saya's in the shadows. And when I called out, I sensed someone jump in the shadows. Wait, Saya? I call out again, and a petite girl's form appears from the shadow of the wall.
Saya!
And Hikari comes over.
もう、さや、何してたのよ。心配したんだから。
Saya hung her head with a stiff expression and didn't answer Hikari. Oh, Saya, so your mom was looking for you, and she said that you ran away.
あっくんの部屋に泊めてほしい。
So biting her lip, Saya says this with a small voice. Wait, so what are you talking about? Well, there's no way you can,
そうだよ、さや。おばさんに心配かけちゃダメでしょうが。お母さんなんて知らない。
Well, I heard she got called by your school. So, what did happen? Or did something happen? Well, never mind that. So why did Saya fight with her mother? So Saya's face stiffened further, and she went quiet.
さや？
So Hikari peered worriedly at Saya's face. Saya turns her face away as if to escape Hikari's gaze.
あっくんとのお付き合いのこと言われた。
Uh-oh. Huh?
ダメだって言われた。
So tears welled up in Saya's eyes.
家に帰りたくない。あっくんの部屋に一緒に住む。
Wait, so in my room?
ダメに決まってるでしょ。
So Hikari spoke before I could open my mouth.
なおさらダメじゃん、そんなの。余計おばさんにアキトとのこと許してもらえなくなるよ。
So Saya glares at Hikari.
ど すの？これは私とあっくんの問題なのに。
Hey, Hikari, so are you okay? Hikari's eyes lost their light, and she looked so troubled that I started worrying about her, even in the current situation.
もういい。あっくんのことも知らない。
Wait, Saya! Saya runs away, and I ran after her. Wait, Saya! But somehow I lost her in the darkness. So Saya isn't very fast, but she's smart. So Saya hid somewhere where Akito could not find her. And then she's gonna wait for Akito to give up. Even though she's upset, Saya must still have had her wits about her. Knowing that I was faster, she must have realized I would catch her. And there you go. So she must have hid somewhere and waited for me to pass. And I couldn't find Saya and ended up wandering the night streets of Mikazuki village. So an hour and a half later, I get text from Saya.
安全な寝床を確保したから、もう探さないで。
探してはみたけど、使えそうな写真はありませんでした。
Okay, so going back to the Project Starlight problems, like, well, I couldn't find a good picture. Toyota hung his head in shame. And it seems that yesterday, after the meeting, Toyota had gone straight to school to search for pictures of Hoshinaka night sky. But he hadn't been able to find any pictures to use as proof to persuade Harbor Town. So everyone is a little discouraged by Toyota's news, but we had also expected it. Well, don't apologize. So we know that this was a possibility.
いや、でも。
So Toyota had rarely been that persistent.
取って満足するんじゃなく、記録として残してあれば、あるいは使えたかもしれない。
So we can find some other way to show Harbor Town in the city that it's worth turning off lights.
前に空見たちがつけてた観測ノート見せてくれたことはあっただろう。
So the notebook? Yeah. Hikari and I look at each other. Our planetary observation journal.
あんな記録をもしつけていたらって思うとさ。
そうだな。
So Kajima folded his arms and sighed in agreement.
珍しい天体現象を撮影したり、綺麗な写真を撮ったりもいいけど、記録を残すことも大事だって思ったんだ。
ただ見て楽しむのも悪くはないっすが、それだけじゃ誰かの役には立たねえ。
そうですね。我々六つら星の会もそういった長い目で見て有意義な活動を行っていきたいものですね。
So everyone is down and introspective for some reason. Hikari hurriedly cheers everyone up.
それならもうできてるじゃん。プレアデス1号の制作日誌は後輩に受け継がれるし、他にもさ、ちゃんと残せてると思うよ。
And Project Starlight isn't a simple festival, so if we keep a record of it, I know that someone in the future can use it if they do something similar. Well, of course, it would be best to leave a record a success.
そうですね。星の中の天文の発展のために末永く受け継がれる活動をしていきましょう。
はい。うっす。
ところで、昨日連絡があったさやさんの件ですが。
And plus, we have some news about Saya from yesterday. Okay, so I haven't heard from her since the text about her finding a place to sleep. But it looks like she went to school. So there had been a text from the Seisen Girls Astronomy Club.
速報、我天の川さんと接触せり。
So, did she come to school?
はい。
So, what happened? Did she say anything?
普通だったと思います。
So, she acts normal.
家出のことを尋ねたら、大丈夫だと伝えてくれと言ってましたです。
So, she told us to say she's okay if you want to ask anything about her. I see. Thank you.
いえ、報告は以上です。そうですか。
So, everyone is relieved for now that she's fine.
たくみんなに心配かけて何やってんのよあの子は。っていうか、私らには連絡返しなさいよね。
So, Hikari says this disgruntled and leans against a chair.
そうだね。
身を寄せられそうなところは全部調べたんですよね。
Yeah, so we asked Saya's friends from the Citizen Girls, and they didn't even know that she ran away. So I asked her friends on the bus that morning. Okay, so Akito's like, hey, so do you have a minute? So are you friends with Saya, right?
あ、はい。さやの彼氏さん？
Oh, so it's Saya's boyfriend. Yeah, that's me.
うわ、どうしよう。さやの彼氏に喋りかけられちゃった。
And they're kind of excited about, oh, so Saya's boyfriend's talking to me. I worked in the morning, and instead of going to school on my bike, I rode the bus and then talked to Saya's friends.
いつも窓から見てます。かっこいいですよね。その制服。星野大一ですか？背高いですね。さやとお似合いで。
So did Saya go to your house last night? And I could not carelessly tell her friends from school that she ran away, so I asked that way.
昨日ですか？いいえ、来てないですよ。
No.
っていうか、さやがうちに遊びに来たことないです。うち、親がうるさいから。
So my dad would not let her in. Okay then, so I'm sorry I bother you.
もしかして、喧嘩でもしたんですか？
Well, something like that. So she didn't seem to be lying, so she probably did not know anything.
さやさ、マジで私たちにも居場所わからないようにしてるよね。
Yeah. So if she was depending on someone from school, Hikari and I did not know who it was. So Hikari is moody and silent. So are you okay, Hikari?
何が？
Well, I mean,
どうして光が口出すの？これは私とあっくんの問題なのに。
So Saya yelled at you. No, it's nothing. So Hikari seems to be really shocked, and she is still down. So even I was surprised Saya would say something like that. And then I remembered how strange Saya has been acting on the night of the stargazing. So Saya's been in the shadows while Hikari was giving this really big speech. So don't think too much about it.
他にあの子が頼りそうな人。ねえ、コロナ、あんた誰か思いつく人いる？三日月村の誰かとかさ。
So, do you have any ideas, Korona? So Korona jumps in surprise.
なんでそんなびっくりしてんのよ。変な子ね。コロナ、何も知らないよ。だってあの人と全然仲良くないし。
No.
そうよね。我々があまり口を出すことではありませんが、もし協力が必要なら言ってくださいね。
So, we want to try to help as much as possible, but our help is limited. Thank you very much.
で、こっちはどうするんすか？
And more importantly, this is the astronomy club, so we should be talking about astronomy and not Saya's whereabouts. Kawanakajima returns us to the subject at hand. So we had asked a few of the original members of the club, but the results had been mostly the same as Nishihai, so nothing. And there are many pictures and recordings, but they had all been of unrelated places, none specific for Hoshinaka's stars. And we had also found some articles on the internet, but nothing that we could really use.
今集まっている資料ではハーバータウンを説得するのは難しいでしょう。
となると、ツリーを諦めるかどうかですね。
So maybe we should work around that tree. Hikari, the mastermind of it all, is thinking quietly. So it would be easy to just give up on the tree, but doing so would mean that we would lose too many potential people to our cause. And simple things like bending our flyers or handing out our flyers or putting the word out on the internet is only going to get us so far. So we need something bigger. And we thought that Harbor Town's tree had the potential to be something bigger. So let's keep trying to find materials. There are still old members we have not contacted.
結局ダメになるにしても、やるだけやってからの方がいいっす。
そうですね。では、各自資料集めをお願いします。
So everyone agrees, and the meeting ends.
ただいま。
So what's going on?
おかえり、コロナちゃん。
Okay, so we see where Saya is.
先に帰ってたんだ。これケーキ、おばさんがおやつにって。こんな押しかけ居候にケーキなんか出さなくていいのに。
So Korona tosses her bag on the bed angrily and stuffs her cheeks rudely with cake.
何してたの？
So what were you doing?
勉強だよ。もうすぐ期末テストだし。
Studying?
家出してるくせに真面目か。コロナちゃんは勉強してる？迷惑かけちゃってるし、わからないところがあったら見るよ。じゃあ、後でちょっとだけ見て。
Well, I guess you can help me in some way.
いいよ。
So Korona has been letting me stay in her room since last night. And after I escaped from Akini or Akun, I have been hanging around a DVD rental store with nowhere to go, and I had met Korona when she came to return a movie. And I don't know why Saya's kind of like giving that somewhat happy look. Come on, so don't be loud.
それでね、行くところがないの。コロナちゃんの部屋に泊めてもらえないかな。なんでコロナの部屋なの？ピカリンチ行けばいいじゃん。
Well, Pickering's place is better.
もう電車がないから光の家には行けないよ。それに光と。
Well, for Korona's like, well, you're closer to Pickering, so why don't you go to her instead? And you've been to her place before, so why her, or why me instead of her?
じゃあ君は？ダメ今のなし。なんかすごく不健全な感じがする。
No, you can't go to Akini's place because you're going to pollute his room.
もしコロナが断ったら、きっとこの人夜の街に消えていくんだ。それでとんでもない不良になって。そん なことになったらコロナのせいだ。ヒカリンにもアキ兄にも顔向けできないよ。
Korona grips her head and squatted down.
コロナちゃん、三日月町に夜の街なんてないよ。まだ開いてるお店、ここか早乙女くらいだよ。
But it doesn't matter what stores stay open. You can be doing shady things at night even when all the stores are closed. So, the Saotome stopping by convenience store would never become a hangout for delinquents. And Akun has always drove them off, and the manager is very scary when she's angry. And the kids our age in the area know Miharu-san, so they would not do anything bad there.
わかったよ。今晩だけだからね。
Fine, you can stay at my place for one night. So I had to have forced my way into it, but I am grateful.
今はあっくんにも光にも会いたくないもん。
So Akun is not even listening to me, and as for Hikari, she made things worse.
ひどいこと言っちゃったし。
So apparently they brought the mom up, and so I was like, well, you don't care about me, you care about what the mom wants. So I had felt bad and ran away, unable to look at them in the eye. And I'm sure that they would not be able to imagine that Korona is sheltering me. And that was the only place they still had not looked.
アキ兄とピカリンがものすごく心配してたよ。
So I know from the unanswered calls and texts, and I ignored all of them.
ねえ、何があったの？
So what happened? So what's the whole story about?
お母さんとちょっと喧嘩しちゃっただけだよ。
So 2 nights before, a teacher had found me while I was walking alone. And then the next day, my mother was contacted and called into school. And at school, I had been thought of as the model honor student, the perfect student. But my, fraternizing with other students and visiting other schools when I was out of school was frowned upon by the Seisen girls teacher. So I wonder what's the problem with that. Is it like, well, the other schools, they're bad, they have poor reputation, poor academics, and if any of our perfect Seisen girls students go there, they're going to be ruined and polluted by the negativeness and the bad academics and bad culture of the other schools. And also, I had started dating a boy lately. And the boy is definitely not part of Seisen Girls, but from some lower grade school. And the teachers are keeping an eye on my behavior, and after being found outside at night by myself, the teachers had called a meeting with my mom. And my mother being my mother, she sided with the teachers and had come home and scolded me.
本当なの？さや、男子とお付き合いするのはあまりいいこととは思えないわ。お母さん、反対よ。
Well, I never thought my mother would say that, and we ended up arguing. And I pretended to run away to cool my head, and then after what happened with Aki and Hikari, or Aki and Hikari, I ended up running away for real.
お母さんと喧嘩してるのに、なんでアキニやピカリンからも逃げてるの？連絡つかないって言ってたよ。
So why run away from those two? So they're worried about you as well. So Akini and Pikarin.
それは。
Well, I think it's like, well, they kind of sided with the mom and the Seisen Girls School, so they're no help.
アキニとも喧嘩したの？
I lowered my head to avoid Korona's gaze.
言いたくない。あ
And looking unsatisfied, Korona stabs her fork into her cake and stuffs the entire thing into her mouth.
武士の情けで聞かないでおいてあげるわ。けど気が済んだら家帰ってね。ありがとう、コロナちゃん。なんでコロナがこんなの。
And for Korona, it's like, well, this is such an inconvenience that I have to deal with this. So I have to handle a runaway girl. And we do know that Korona and Sai are not really together. They were fighting in the common route.
おーい、コロナ、いるのか？
お兄ちゃんだ。隠れて。
入るぞ。
I'm coming in.
まだ入っていいって言ってないでしょ。
おお、終わり。
Oh, sorry.
てか友達が来てるから部屋に来ないでって言ったじゃん、バカお兄ちゃん。
いや、そのお友達が死ぬほど可愛いって母ちゃんがうっせえからよ。どんなの見に来たんだよ。
The mom is excited about your new friend, so I just want to see it myself.
全然可愛くないし、ずうずうしいだけの居候だから見なくていい。っていうかお兄ちゃん汗臭いんだからさっさと出てけ。
Well, this is not helping.
わーった、押すなって言って蹴るな。
今度入ってきたら竹槍でお尻つくからね。
おお、怖っ。
Oh, you're scary.
もういいよ。
Okay, so I managed to push my Oni-chan out of the room for now. And that was a pretty bad way to do it, along with coming up with all these negative thoughts like, well, she's not cute and beautiful, she's just a freeloader and you stink.
危なかった。
Okay, so Sai comes out. I came out of the closet that I had quickly hidden. So if Take found me, he would tell Akun right away. We had told Korona's mom that I was just a friend of Korona, but I was really shy. So she had let me just stay in the room and even eat in here too.
ごめんねコロナちゃん。なるべく迷惑かけないようにするから。いいよ、もうかかりまくりだから。今日はこれ持ってきたから一緒のベッドで寝なくて済むよ。
I said this and spread out some stuff from my bag.
何それ、寝袋？今日学校の帰りに家に寄って取ってきたの。
So I had gone home while my mother is not there.
そんなので寝るの？家の中なのに？変かな。変だよ、超変。布団だったらお母さんに言って出してもらうし。
So at least Korona's considered. It's like, well, you just sleep in something better than a sleeping bag.
でも敷くスペースなさそうだし、それに迷惑でしょ。私のことなら気にしないで。寝袋って暖かいんだよ。それに外や廃液の秘密基地で寝るよりずっと快適だもん。あんたってさ、結構ずぶといよね、見た目によらず。そう？鍛えられたんじゃないかな、あっくんとひかりに。
Well, if I couldn't sleep in a sleeping bag, I could not play with those two.
他にも着替えとか歯ブラシとか必要なもの持ってきたの。
So I brought everything. And I said this and emptied my bag.
あ、これパジャマ？かわいい、もこもこしてる。でしょ？お気に入りなの。暖かいんだよ。化粧水だ！こんなの使ってるんだ。冬場は乾燥するしね。コロナちゃんも使ってみる？お肌がしっとりするよ。
Okay.
他にもね。
So as I was showing Korona the things that I always used, I realized I am missing something. So what is Saya missing?
どうしたの？
So I flip my bag upside down to search. Clothes, handkerchief, towel, wallet, ticket case, study materials. So I got everything out to check. But I could not find it. So what's the one item that Sai is missing?
ないどうしよう
So I just went blank for a while.
なくしちゃった私の絶対になくしたくないもの
Okay, so the charm that I always carried with me. And the talisman was very important to me, and it looks like I had dropped it somewhere. So I racked my memory.
多分あの時だ
So I guess it must be... So it was the only time I could think of. Okay, so Sai goes up by herself and looks for it. It's like, well, I'm going to look somewhere along the path from when I escaped and went to the video rental store before Korona picked me up. So I looked for my lost talisman, lighting the dark with a flashlight. So if I had dropped it, it would have been then, so when the teacher had found me that night. Well, I guess I had just been so upset that I had dropped it. But I couldn't see it anywhere.
ねえお腹空いたしもう諦めて帰ろうよ
And Saya dragged Korona along with her.
コロナちゃんは先に帰ってていいよ置いて帰れるわけないじゃんあんた一人で夜中で歩いてて先生に見つかって叱られたんでしょそんなに大切なものなの
So, we can look for this later. It's dark.
あれがないと私
So the tears I was holding back welled up.
もうあっくんと会えないよなんでプレゼントか何か一緒に謝ってあげるからさそんなんじゃないの
So I sniffed as I searched the grass by the train tracks.
今ねプロジェクトスターライトが大変なんだよ
So you know I'm busy. I have other things to worry about, like Project Starlight.
そうなのハーバータウンのツリーこのままじゃ消してもらえないってコロナも家帰って資料探しやりたいのに
So I want to work on that problem.
探し物なら明日にしなよこんなに暗くちゃ見つかりっこないって明日だったらコロナも手伝ってあげるからさ
So I nodded and started pushing through the grass bitterly.
なんとか資料と呼べそうなものを集めてみました
Okay, so they have some evidence now. So Honoka passes out copies of everything we have gathered from old members, Nishihai, and the internet. So you could hardly call it proof of Hoshionaka's bright sky from before. Hikari and I scowled as we looked through the materials.
こんな断片的な資料じゃ何の根拠にもならないよ
So it's hard to paint a picture with all the stuff that we currently have. So we will just have to appeal to their emotions. And even though I said that, it didn't really sit right with me. So being engaged in the science of astronomy, it felt like we had to appeal to emotions. Then we were not going about it the right way. And besides, so if all we had were emotions to go off on, then we would hardly be giving any real evidence, and Harbor Town is unlikely to reconsider.
これを資料だって言って提出するくらいなら諦めた方がいいと思う。
Hikari says this with a pained face. Yeah, you're right. So it would reflect badly on us if we went ahead of this point. Especially if the Six Stars Club wanted to contribute to the advancement of astronomy in Hoshinaka. So we sighed and sat heavily in our chairs. And today each school was doing their own thing, but Honoka and Hikari had come to my room as always. But Korona has taken the day off. She had said that there was something she had to do and had gone home early.
さやもコロナもいないと静かだね。
Well, Saya's always quiet anyways, so it would not have made any difference.
あの子がいないと私が静かになるもん。
But it makes things boring without her. She said this unhappily. So since the other night, Hikari sometimes looked lost in thought. So maybe it's pressure because of the project, but I knew it's because of what Saya had said. So don't worry about it so much. She just said because she's angry. So Hikari still looked troubled as she answered. And it seems Saya had been to school today as well. And if I waited by her at the school gates for classes to end, I could probably see her, but it wouldn't be wise. So I'm sure it would make Saya more angry and she would run away at the sight of Akito. So Saya had been warned about her activities outside of school. Okay, that's another problem too. So if I was seen waiting outside her school, it might make her situation worse. And it was Saya we are talking about. She's probably expecting something like this. So she would likely leave school as soon as class ends, so I would not make it unless I skipped my last class.
アキト、そろそろ時間だよ。
Yeah, you're right. So sorry, Honoka. So we're going to Saya's house now.
わかりました。
So we had told her about it earlier. So Hinami, so make sure to close up when you're done.
了解であります、部長。
So Hikari and I left Honoka and Hinami behind and left the room. Okay, so they visit Saya's room, and Saya's obviously not in there. So as I bow in apology, Saya's mother tilted her head with a troubled expression. So he's like, well, I'm sorry I caused all this, and I made Saya upset. And I know I should not have been close to Saya because now the school is upset too. So I heard that Saya was some trouble at school because we started dating.
待って。
Really? What? So Saya's mother blinked and looked at Hikari and me.
さやがお付き合いしているのって、アキトくんだったの？
Yeah, that's right. And her mom looks shocked, but also seems to understand.
ごめんなさい。私勘違いをしていたわ。
Wait, so what do you mean?
だって、アキトくんはひかりちゃんと。私？
So Hikari is surprised by her name so suddenly and pointed at herself, so her face looking puzzled. It's like, wait, so you thought it was Akito and Hikari? And then she shook her head and hands fiercely.
違います違います。アキトの彼女はさやです。
No, it's Saya.
そうだったのね。それであの子、 あんなに怒って。
Her face looks like she finally understands, and then she put her hand to her forehead as if she had a headache.
じゃあママはさやがアキトじゃないどっかの誰かと付き合ってるって思ってたの？学校の先生からよその学校に出入りしたり夜中に出かけて何かしているって聞いて。ほら、この前もそういうことがあったじゃない？
So where are you walking at this hour?
星のダムのあたりかな。
So Sai had gone somewhere in the middle of the night. So neither Hikari or I knew where she's going, and of course, neither does her mother. But if it's still the same, so if it's all because she came to our school and the rumors started.
おでんを持って行ってたんでしょ？
Yes?
そのおでんを作ったのは私なのよ。それに、アキト君とは幼馴染だもの。別に構わないわ。
So Saya's mom had been angry because she thought Saya was going around with somebody she did not know. So Saya usually had food her mom made with her when she comes to see me. She probably felt much safer knowing her daughter isn't sneaking around. So Saya's mother, looking relieved, sat down on the side of the bed.
別に学校へ呼び出されたせいで怒ったわけじゃないの。あの子が私のようになったらどうしようって。それあの子は思い詰めると本当に一途になるから。
Okay, so what did the mother have to say? Let's see.
あの子が私のようになったらどうしようって。それだけが心配だったのよ。
Okay.
それはいい結果ばかりを生むとは限らないわ。誰かを好きになりすぎてバランスを崩してしまうことだってある。
She said that much, but then shook her head as if to banish her thoughts.
なんてのはただの言い訳ね。あの子は私とは違うのに。
So she sighs as she speaks. Her words convey the harshness of being an adult. It was a little hard to bear. And back when Saya has changed schools, there had been a rumor. So people had said that Saya's mother had run away, but come back to the village in the end. And it's a small village, so the rumors spread, and some people said it insultingly. And I don't know the truth, but I didn't want to. So Saya's mother, that I know is a nice person who did her best to raise her daughter in that village. And Saya is a good daughter. And that's all I needed to know.
ごめんなさい。変な話を聞かせてしまって。わかってるのよ。あの子が勉強を頑張っていい子でいるのは私のためだって。実際すごく助けられているのよ。
So Saya is good. The prejudices of the old ladies in the neighborhood would fade. And thanks to Saya's efforts, there is now no one who spoke badly of Saya's mother.
でもそのせいで無理をさせてるんだとしたら、それは大丈夫なんじゃないかな。
So Hikari continues as she thought.
あの子頑張ってるけど無理してる感じじゃないです。ねえ、アキト。
Yeah, I agree.
それに結構好きなこともやってるし、通い妻とかね。
So Hikari says this while smiling teasingly. Hey, Hikari, so don't mention that. And it's kind of embarrassing. So I'm going to leave the rest to the next episode. So I'm kind of surprised here that when Saya's mom heard that, oh, so Saya's dating Akito, it's like, well, I understand. And So I'm sure Saya's mom thinks like, well, if Saya's with Akito, then it's all good. And it was kind of like a misunderstanding. So I think the school is also the bigger problem because the school had to make a big deal out of Saya being out after hours. And even though it's good because the school is concerned about the safety of their students, the problem is that the mother got called in, and I'm sure the school was the one who scolded the mother's like, you are not taking good care of your daughter. You're letting her do inappropriate things, and it's going to be really bad and harmful for her life. And I think the school was also what pushed the mother to go scold at Saya, and it led to the fight afterwards. So hopefully all of this can get through to Saya, and the fact that, well, the mother's okay if Saya is with Akito and not some other man. And also for Project Starlight, hopefully there is some solution to the problem. So it is kind of hard to find pictures and form proof about what the sky looked like many years ago. And to prove that because there was less night lights on the streets at night, they could see more stars compared to today. But hopefully things can come through at the end. And also for Korona, I'm sure Korona is going to get tired of having Saya in her room. And despite them not being on good terms, Korona lets Saya stay in her room. So anyways, with that in mind, I'll see you in the next episode.